Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Was in the World of Magician and Had Dragon Slayer Powers movie. Before we start, please go support ancalagonintheblack for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Deku is a male in this story. Being a personal 7. The Uraraka's father. Uraraka at a moment. The Ichako family is an important family in the world of magic which uses anti-gravity magic. The Uraraka. Yes, Dad, what's wrong? The Uraraka's parents. I have good news today, you will have your own personal servant who will only obey you. Come Izuku and introduce yourself. The pink-haired boy stepped forward. Izuku. Hello, I'm Izuku, it's a pleasure to serve you. I bowed. The Uraraka's father. Obviously he will have to go with you everywhere, but since you start school tomorrow he will go with you. The Uraraka. Thank you very much parents, come Izuku, your work starts today. The Uraraka and Izuku went to their room to prepare all things for tomorrow. The Uraraka. Well Izuku, I want you to prepare all my things for tomorrow. Izuku just agreed and started to organize everything so that Uraraka could go to school tomorrow without mentioning that he also organized all the mess. The Uraraka. Come, I have to buy some things. They went to a place where they bought everything they needed for tomorrow, and when they finished they went back home, and after eating Uraraka went to her room to sleep. The Uraraka. What did you think of your first day as a servant? Izuku. I thought it was very good, Miss Uraraka, sleep well, you have to start classes tomorrow. Izuku just laid down on the floor to sleep there. The first day at the academy. It was already morning, and Izuku had to wake up Uraraka to go to the academy. After a while they were already in a limousine. Uraraka. Izuku, when we arrive, I want you to pay attention to him a little, and some of my friends will tell you something, but if I allow you. Izuku only nodded his head in affirmation, and when they arrived at the academy, they went to the room where they met Uraraka's friends, Yaoi Rozumomo with creation magic, Todoromi Shota, Izumi Miritia with her brother Ella Shirin with a similar magic. To All Mights, and Katsumi's explosion magic. The Uraraka's friends noticed Izuku and asked about him. Izumi. Uraraka, and who is this? The Uraraka. My dad got it for me, his name is Izuku, he is my personal servant. Eat Izuku, introduce yourself. Izuku. Hello, nice to meet you, I'm Izuku, Uraraka's personal servant, and they gave me the order that I have to listen to them if my mistress allows me. Mina. Let me borrow it for a while. Uraraka. I don't really know what you plan to do with him without saying that sometimes you're a little perverted. Mina started touching Izuku's body. Mina. But if he feels his muscles he would surely last while in bed. Uraraka. I said no. Todoromi. And you're going to lend it to me. They were all surprised because they knew that she naturally rejects any guy. Uraraka. No. Izawa. Put this on and go outside. Uraraka. Izuku, I want you to not let any pervert see us. After a while, Mineta was seen trying to spy in the girls' locker room, but a hit from Izuku left him in trouble. Izuku. Ladies, this boy named Mineta tried to spy on you through a hole, what do you want me to do with him? Uraraka. At the moment nothing is stopping him from approaching us. Izawa's tests would be something similar to those of the original story. Mina. Izuku, how much strength do you have? Handing him something to measure his strength. The pink-haired man only squeezed it so much that he almost broke it, showing that he has incredible strength. Mina. Well now I will give you an order. Izuku just looked at his mistress who approved her head in approval, but a little unsure about what he was going to ask. Mina. Take off your shirt. Izuku only paid attention by taking off his entire top, showing a well-toned body. The girls, seeing that, looked at him with lust. Mineta. That's nothing, come on guys. All the boys agreed to take off their shirts, but the girls just stared at the pink-haired boy. Izawa. Enough, everyone, go back to the classroom. Getting to know Izuku a little more. The next day they were all in classes in which Izawa was asking questions to each one of his students. Izawa. Well, someone knows the difference between a person of nobility and a normal one. Momo raised her hand. Izawa. Yes. Momo. The difference is that those of the nobility have magic, while everyone else, who does not have magic, has jobs as servants, for example. Izawa. Good. Lita. Professor, I saw a little of this book, and there is something that makes me doubt it. Izawa. Well, what is it? Lita. It says something about Dragon Slayer, what are they? Izawa. Well, one of you can answer that. Neither of them knew the answer, but Uraraka looked at Izuku for a moment. Uraraka. Izuku, do you know anything about that? Izuku. Yes, I know a lot about that. Everyone looked at Izuku. Uraraka. Can you tell us what they are? Izuku. Dragon slayers are people who are made to hunt dragons, since they are the only magicians who can defeat a dragon. It is a magic that very few can have, and there are only 3 ways to have it. Kitsumi. And what are those shapes? Izuku. There are 3 generations of dragon slayer. The first is to be trained by a dragon, the second is to have a dragon tear inserted into you, and the last 3rd generation can only be trained by a dragon, and a dragon slayer tear is inserted into you. Todoromi. Is that the only reason why it's difficult for you to be one? Izuku. Yes, although that is why they are feared by many magicians who faced each other. Every magician who faced a dragon slayer never came out of the fight without having many wounds, apart from a magician who is at a disadvantage if he faces one of the same element. Izumi. What do you mean? Izuku. I mean that if a dragon slayer is made of fire and they make a fire attack or they throw fire at it, no damage will happen to it. Apart from that, it can eat the fire to recover all its wasted energy, but if it eats more fire than what they can do, it takes a little bit of damage to pass on to your dragon force. Momo. Dragon force. Izuku. It is a form that dragon slayers acquire which allows them to face dragons. Mina. Which would be the strongest dragon slayer and how many are there? Izawa. The strongest is Natsu Dragneel the fire dragon slayer, and at the moment there is only one. Izuku vs Sharon. Izawa. Guys, I have to go for a moment. When Izawa left they started talking, but Uraraka was getting tired of hearing Shirin say that she was his. Uraraka. Izuku eats closer. As Izuku approached, Uraraka gave him a kiss regardless of everyone looking at them. Izuku was beginning to enjoy it, and when he was about to raise the level someone pushed him. Shirin. What do you think you're doing? Kissing mine. Izuku. When I became Uraraka's servant I saw that she doesn't belong to anyone other than my job is to keep her safe and happy. As I saw that she liked the kiss too much, it was increasing the intensity, which made her like it more. Shirin was about to hit him, but Izawa stopped him. Izawa. They will be able to fight, but that will be outside. Already outside. Shirin. I'm going to defeat you, and when that happens Uraraka will come to me. Izawa. Start. When he said that Shirin formed a magic circle in his hand, he tried to deliver one blow and another, but Izuku just kept dodging each one. Shirin. I'll kill you. Izuku, seeing that sooner or later he would end up hurting those who were watching, only made a decision. He formed a magic circle in the palm of his hand to dodge another blow from Shirin and put it on his forehead. As soon as he put it on, Shirin fell to the floor and he began to scream in pain. Uraraka. Izuku, you can leave it now. Izuku only took away the magic circle to see how Shirin was unconscious. After that they were at lunch, while the girls ate quietly, because Izuku sent Mineta flying, who was only trying to get closer to the girls. Izumi. Izuku, how do you know so much about dragon slayers? Izuku. A close relative of mine, in fact, I consider him a father, he was a dragon slayer. Uraraka. And where is he? Izuku. He's not around anymore. Lower head. Momo. How about you come sleep at my house tomorrow? Uraraka. Sounds good to me. Momo. Obviously you can bring your servant. Uraraka. Okay, but I warn you that he will sleep with me. I remembered some days when I forced Izuku to sleep with her. A day at Momo's house. The next day all the girls went to Momo's house. Momo. I told my parents and they're not there. Todoromi. Well, but who cooks? Izuku. As Miss Uraraka's servant, I have to cook if there is no one to cook. Izumi. One less detail. The girls spent the time in the living room talking about anything while Izuku was waiting for time to cook. Mina. Hey Izuku, do you know anything that is dangerous for a dragon slayer about their own magic or what they spend their time doing? Izuku. The dragon slayers of the 1st and 3rd generations spend their time looking for the dragons who trained them and were like parents to them, because once the children know almost everything about the magic of the dragon slayer they leave, and if there is something very dangerous, when your dragons leave. They enter your child's body because if the dragon slayer does not have a dragon inside them and they use too much dragon slayer magic, they can become a dragon. Momo. And has that happened before? Izuku. Yes, just one case. Sai. Who was it? Izuku. Have you ever heard of the dragon Acnologia, the dragon of chaos? Izumi. The most feared dragon among all, why? Izuku. He used to be a dragon slayer, but when he lost his inner dragon he ended up transforming into one. Well, it's time to cook. Izuku went to cook and when he finished he called everyone with a smile that made them blush. After eating the girls stayed in one room, but they took Izuku to a different one. The next day all the girls got up, but they didn't see Momo, therefore they went quickly to Izuku's room, and when they entered they saw a sleeping Izuku with a Momo on him. Girls. Momo, what are you doing? Waking up the two and Izuku seeing Momo blushed and she took the opportunity to kiss him. Needless to say that all the girls were angry. The attack on the academy. A few days after Izuku was saved from a possible great by the girls in the course, it was time for them to go to classes, which they left on a bus. Izumi. What do you think the rescue class is like? Momo. I don't know. Kirishima. Now that I remember Izuku, how do you defeat Shirin? Izuku was about to respond, but they were interrupted by Aizawa, who had arrived. 13. Hello students, this is the accident sound. Before he continued speaking, the lights went out and a portal appeared in front of them. Izuku in his mind. The smell. Izuku. Miss Uraraka allows me to be free from my duties for this day. Uraraka. Yes, why do you ask? Aizawa. They are villains. 13, get them out of here. Uraraka. Izuku, let's go. Izuku watched as everyone came out of the portal and saw one in particular. Izuku shouted with much hatred. Damn it, take me to your teacher. He headed against the villains and everyone was surprised when they saw that. Izuku. Take me to where your teacher is. He knocked out some villains but stopped when a big thing stood in front of him. Uraraka. Izuku, what are you doing? Tamura. I already imagined that I would find you anywhere, but I never thought it would be here. Aizawa. Well, if Izuku is going to fight, I'll have to help. Tamura. It's just that you give a good fight to Naomu, who was created to kill All Might. Izuku. I don't care about that, I already told you to take me to All for One. Aizawa. Izuku, I'll take care of them, you take care of everyone in the other areas. Izuku. Okay, but the white-haired guy and the one who looks like some kind of purple thing because of his body, leave it to me. Aizawa. Okay. After a while in which Izuku defeated the other villains and Naomu was torturing Aizawa, and before he gave him the final blow, something hit him that sent him crashing into some walls. Tamura. Great, today I will see how my creation kills you. Izuku. Dragneel, the last dragon slayer. Lita. Is it random? Mineta. Did he say? Momo. Izuku. Haminari. Dragneel. Uraraka. Dragon Slayer. Izuku. In the end I will have to take charge, but since there are still some enemies I will have to divide the work. A magic circle appeared below him and surrounded him, so that 6 others similar to him appeared, but 1 had blue hair, 2 had black hair, 2 with blonde hair, 1 had red hair. Izuku. Let's start. The Izukus headed to different areas where the villains were while the original stayed in place ready to fight Naomu. Izumi. Sensei said there was only 1 dragon slayer left alive. Todoromi. That means Izuku is the last dragon slayer. Pitsumi. And he is a familiar of Natsu Dragneel. Everyone was watching the fight in which Izuku and Naomu were punching each other. Izuku. Fire and poison dragon strikes. Fire and something strange appeared in his hands that apparently was poison to start hitting him harder in an attempt by Izuku to do the same thing that All Might did trying to win, but when he hit his head against the floor and the fire dispersed. Thus, a portal was seen in which Naomu took advantage of to hit Izuku's stomach with his claws. Naomu let go of Izuku, and each time he seemed to get stronger until at one point the Naomu began to take control of the combat, then after a few moments, it was seen that instead of being a fight, it was beginning to be more of a torture for Izuku, who could less and less withstand Naomu's blows. Uraraka. In favor of Izuku. Naomu grabbed Izuku's leg to start hitting him against the ground again and then threw him near Class A. Before Naomu went to finish off Izuku, the other parts that came out of the magic circle appeared to give him some time. Uraraka. Izuku, we have to help. Izuku. No, CC that Fuigo. Izumi. Fire, we need fire. Todoromi only looked at his left side of him. Todoromi. All Quranic. When everyone walked away and Todoromi just hugged him, Naomu had already finished off the other Izukus. Todoromi made a big fireball that covered them. Naomu was already in front, he was going to end this, but in less than a second he flew away, and Izuku was seen hugging him in a protective manner with one arm, while with the other, he showed a fist covered in fire and maintained a big smile. Izuku. I'm on, thank you very much Todoromi for that delicious fire, now get safe. Izuku passed on his dragon force, which was similar to Gajiel's with fire and poison coming out of his body. Izuku. Ready for the second run. Naomu and Izuku started fighting again, only this time Naomu received much more damage than before due to all the resistance using the dragon force, plus the fire and poison that he was emanating. Great All Might for Izuku. Everyone was impressed by the power that Izuku showed and at the same time happy because he defeated Naomu. The doors broke showing All Might. All Might. Everything's okay because I'm here. Izuku. You were too late, useless. All Might lowered his head in shame and Izuku, upon deactivating his dragon force, fainted. The Prince of Destruction. In the infirmary Izuku was waking up and when he did so he saw everyone from Class A and the teachers with Uraraka's father. Izuku. What happened? Momo. The villains appeared and you and Aizawa-sensei defeated them. Izuku. true. Uraraka's father. Were you supposed to be just a servant? And out of nowhere they come and tell me that you are a descendant of Natsu Dragneel. Uraraka. Izuku, who are you supposed to be? Izuku. Well, I'll tell you everything. I was living in a castle in a place where there were dragons. My father Natsu Dragneel, the king of dragons. One day we decided that I, as the successor to the throne, remembered that my father was in this world before, for as long as he was here, and thanks to that he ended up being a good king, I decided to come. Izumi. Why a servant? Izuku, somewhat embarrassed. Well, when I arrived I had money, but I almost ran out of it with the food I consumed, and when I took a job I thought it was a fighting job, but it ended up being a personal servant. All might. Well that's all, we'll see how everything goes. Everyone left the room except the girls. Itsumi. But that's not the whole story, when you saw the villains you were angry and they were telling them to take you to their master. Izuku. Well I had a teacher before, he was a dragon, he was like a second father. One day someone called All For One tried to kill me, because he believed that being the son of Natsu Dragneel, I was going to be a threat to him in the future, and well, my second father Draxter tried to protect me, but I was stupid to try to help him, and he ended up dead. Luckily my father arrived in time and All For One left. I tried not to shed any tears. Uraraka hugged him. Uraraka. Izuku, let's go there. Izuku just hugged Uraraka and started crying in her arms. Izuku. That was all my fault. Uraraka. It wasn't, you can relax now. The festival. Izawa had entered, announced about the festival, and when it was over everyone went to eat. Mineta tried to get closer to the girls because he didn't see Izuku, but when he tried to do something he got a good hit. Izuku. Although I am not a servant of Uraraka within the academy, that does not mean that I will not let you get close to them. Uraraka. Just sit down. Izuku just sat up. Itsumi. Hey, how much power you have. Izuku. Technically, if I am around my elements I have no limits. The days passed and the big day of the festival arrived. The same thing would happen if Todoromi had frozen the entrance and Izuku was able to pass easily. When he was running he met the robots. Izuku. This will be a problem. Izuku was engulfed by electricity to increase his speed and he tore through the robots. Izuku. They're just in the way. Izuku continued running to the cliff and he just started using his wind magic after he came to the explosions. Izuku. Explosions, maybe it's time to eat. Izuku went through all the explosions as if it were nothing while eating the fire without any problem. He continued like this until he reached the end without any problem, finishing in first place. Cavalry. They had already said what the next part would be, which was the cavalry, and Izuku was looking for someone to team up with. Uraraka. Izuku, what do you think if we make cavalry? Izuku. Sounds good to me. Itsumi. I also joined the team. Todoromi. Me too. Izuku. Well, the team is already made, but we have to see who will be the rider and obviously not me. Uraraka. Why don't you? Izuku. Easy, because the rider has to be lightweight so that those below can go faster by being heavier and stronger. Everyone looked at Kitsumi. Kitsumi. What? Izuku. Between your explosions to protect the tape plus your weight, it will be much easier. Kitsumi. Where can I find Todoromi or Uraraka? Izuku. Todoromi could freeze the road and Uraraka is somewhat heavy. Todoromi. And how do you know that? Izuku. Experience when he climbs on you or uses you as a seat. Uraraka. What did you just say? She said it with a dark aura behind her. Izuku. That's it. Uraraka. When we get home you'll suffer a little. Izuku. Todoromi on one side, Uraraka on the other and me in front. Time was already up and the teams had formed. When they said to start almost all the teams went against Izuku's team. They just waited. When they were already approaching, Todoromi stopped them with his ice and Izuku was in charge of sending them flying. Izuku. Wind Dragon Roar. Quickly Izuku turned his hand into an iron staff which went against Kirishima as they were getting closer. Izuku. We have to leave this way, we are easier to catch, hold on to me. Electricity appeared to Izuku to leave the place with his speed. He quickly had to eat some lightning to affect the others that came from Kaminari. That's how they did it. Uraraka was in charge of touching the other groups, although only one for the formation to disarm. Todoromi would freeze them so Kitsumi could keep score. Kitsumi would just send everyone who tried to take her by surprise flying. And Izuku would keep them away with his Winder Light, while at the same time stunning or weakening them with his lightning and poison that were effective. Were like that until time ended, showing everyone who stayed that the third part. Start of fights. Once the cavalry was finished, the fights began, which would be similar to the original story, except that one would change, which would be Kirishima versus Tetsutetsu versus Izuku, a three-way fight. Before the fights, the girls presented themselves with the cheerleading outfits and happening like the original story the girls would realize that they were tricked. Uraraka. Izuku, teach those two a lesson. Izuku. Okay, it looks good on them by the way. Saying that the girls blushed. Izuku. Haber Kaminari has to fight so I hit him later, but Mineta you are no exception. Mineta. Please Izuku, don't kill me. It didn't end because Izuku hit him with his fire dragon magic, burning Mineta completely. Once that situation was given, the fights continued like the original story until the three went down, and when they were on the platform Kirishima and Tetsutetsu began to use their magic. When they started the fights Kirishima, upon learning of Izuku, threw himself against him. Izuku was only dodging his attacks, in one Izuku hit him with darkness, moving him away a little, and then using his light hitting him in the belly, almost taking him off the platform. Izuku anticipated an attack from Tetsutetsu, which only dodged a blow to his face a little to bite his arm. Tetsutetsu. Hi release, release, release. Tetsutetsu was waving his arm, Izuku stopped biting him to switch to his Iron Dragon Force mode, changing to his body being covered in metal. Izuku went against Kirishima and Tetsutetsu, starting to fight with both of them at the same time. The two were receiving a tremendous beating. Izuku. This is boring me, Iron Dragon Roar. The attack collided with the two of them who left the platform unconscious and injured. Uraraka and Bakugo's next fight happened like the original story. Izuku came down and healed Uraraka. Izuku. When I have to fight you I will have no mercy. After Izuku left Uraraka in the infirmary, while walking he found a discouraged Momo. Izuku. What's wrong? Momo. Nothing, just that. Izuku. If you're discouraged about losing the fight. Izuku is a mother of two. Izuku. I heard that hugs are good for cheering people up. Momo. Thank you. After that they went to the stands. Second part of the fights. Midnight. The next fight will be Shoto Todoromi against Izuku Dragneel. The two students went up to the platform. Izuku. Give me a good fight. Todoromi. Believe me, it won't be easy to win. Midnight. What a start. Todoromi threw ice at Izuku which he roared with fire to melt him, succeeding in doing so. Izuku. My father had an ice companion and he showed me how to deal with magic like yours. Todoromi just threw more ice at Izuku which he began to dodge. Izuku did air magic on his feet to avoid all the ice. Todoromi seeing that he threw ice into the air to catch Izuku who only dodged all the attacks. Izuku. Staff of the Iron Dragon. Todoromi only protected himself with his ice. Seeing that he caught the attack he took the opportunity to freeze Izuku. Having a little success freezing Izuku's right arm, Izuku began to defrost the ice, but could not prevent a huge pillar of ice that hit him. Almost taking out Izuku. Izuku. It was a good hit. Todoromi continued throwing ice to be able to beat him at once, but Izuku only dodged all the ice, just to be close to her about to hit her, but Todoromi lit his fire to get away and freeze part of Izuku's body, so that he as later broke the ice. Todoromi got tired and wanted to end this once and for all, so he used his best attack against Izuku, which only prepared a blonde clone. Izuku launched a roar of fire while the electricity clone joined the attacks. Cementos and Midnight they tried to stop them, but the two attacks collided with each other, forming a large cloud of dust that did not allow anyone to see until it dispersed, and Izuku was seen as the winner. Everyone shouted his name, but Todoromi Endeavor's father came down and approached. To Izuku. Endeavor. You are perfect. Izuku. Perfect. Endeavor. Perfect to be Todoromi's husband. Everyone had pale faces as Endeavor naturally rejected all the boys who approached Todoromi. Last part of the festival. In the combat arena, Izuku, Bakugo and Shirin could be seen on the combat platform. Midnight. Let the last fight begin. When he said that, everyone in the stand shouted with joy to see who was going to be the strongest, just as Bakugo and Shirin went against Izuku who did the same, but he was faster, appearing in front of him to hit him in the face. Shirin faced Shirin and then turned around and kicked Bakugo to finish with a blow to the belly of both of them, leaving them breathless for a few moments. When they got up, the two of them headed against him again, but this time Bakugo stood up in front of him to give him several explosions and Shirin hit him in the belly. Izuku. This fight will be fun. Bakugo. Damn, I'll kill you. The two threw themselves at Izuku. When they arrived they wanted to hit him, but Izuku only blocked them and attacked them, beating up the two who were now injured. Izuku kicked Bakugo who pushed him away to continue with a fist to Shirin's stomach. Shirin. Bakugo, let's go to plan B. Bakugo. Understood. Bakugo began to charge energy in his hands which began to shine. Izuku upon seeing that he wanted to go to where Bakugo was, but Shirin stopped him with a blow that sent him flying, but he quickly recompassed himself to dodge a blow from Shirin, to continue with a he kicked Shirin in the stomach and he wrote in pain. Shirin. Damn, just a little bit more. Izuku. This has already gotten very boring, don't you think? Shirin. Don't think you're invincible. Izuku. This is over. Bakugo. Ready, now die. Bakugo shot a huge amount of fire as if he had his grenades. Izuku was about to stop him, but Shirin hit him that crashed him into Bakugo's attack, exploding. Everyone in horror thought they killed him, but from the fire they heard a voice. Izuku. This is the most disgusting fire I've ever eaten. Everyone watched as Izuku ate the fire. Izuku. Just like I said before, this is over. At that moment, rays came out of Izuku's body to kick Bakugo and take him off the platform to continue with another kick that took out Shirin, thus naming Izuku as the winner of the festival. Internships. After finishing the sports festival, every time Izuku went out to buy something, someone almost always asked him to take a photo with them or get an autograph, but Uraraka began to go with him, since Izuku began to go to the house with marks of kisses, because some girls always kissed him, although it was worse when the girls at the academy began to know about this. They also accompanied him in everything, at the academy. Aizawa. Guys will have to do an internship with some superheroes for what they did at the sports festival, and they will have to choose their hero names that Midnight will help them with. Everyone was passing by with their hero names until it was Izuku's turn. Izuku. My name will be Salamander. Everyone was wondering why that name, when they each chose which agency they were going to go to. When the day arrived, Izuku arrived at a building where he had to enter, and the mission they gave him was to patrol with a hero Endeavor, which he was also with Todoromi. At night they were in the streets. Izuku received a message as well as Todoromi went to the place, and finding Lita lying on the floor, and Izumi who was fighting against Stain, the hero killer. Stain was for sticking his katana into Izumi, but Izuku hit him that took him a few meters away. Izuku. Izumi is fine. Izumi. Yes, thank you. Izuku. Stain, the hero killer, it will be an honor to fight someone as a voice. Izumi. Todoromi, I want them to take Lita, I'll take care of him. Todoromi. Don't even think we'll leave you alone. Izuku. Balin, they're just going to bother me from here. The girls listened to him and left the place when Izuku turned around, avoiding a cut from Stain, which proceeded to make several cuts, but Izuku dodged them all until he covered his body with metal, starting to counterattack the assassin, having a very close fight. In which no one backed down, a reddish color began to appear in one of Izuku's hands, in which when he hit Stain and pushed him away, he did not feel any change. As the fight continued, Stain felt increasingly weaker. Stain. What's wrong with me? Stain immediately remembered when his fists were covered in something reddish. Izuku. You really liked my poison. Stain. I can't be defeated by you, I can only be defeated by a true hero. When the others arrived they saw Stain on the floor and Izuku who was standing. Endeavor. What happened? Izuku. I just beat him. Immediately a Nomu all at Izumi, but before anything else happened, Izuku appeared in front of the Nomu who gave him a blow that sent him directly to the ground, and Izuku came down with Izumi in his arms, making Todoromi jealous. Endeavor. Hey boy, don't forget that you have to marry my daughter, but tell me something. Izuku. What? Endeavor. When it comes to dragons you can have more than one woman. Izuku. You are. Endeavor. In that case my daughter will be the first to marry you. At this everyone was shocked by what he said. Exam. Once the internship was done and finished at the UA, Professor Aizawa would take them to a place which was the city that was used for admission to the UA. Aizawa would explain how the exam was going to be, which consisted mainly of fighting. Against the teachers, the teams would be like the original story, only that Izuku would be alone, he would not have anyone on his team, and he would be the last. Momo. Professor, why won't Izuku have a team? Aizawa. Because their part of the exam will be a little different from yours because of that. Momo. Aizawa-sensei, I propose to team up with Izuku. Aizawa. I'm afraid I can't allow that. Before Momo says anything else she felt a hand on her shoulder, and when she saw who it was she saw that it was Izuku. Izuku. Don't worry, I can handle this, you don't need to do anything. Izuku gave her a smile that made her blush. Once the exam began everything would be like the original story, until Izuku's turn came, and he was not told who he would face. Microphone. Izuku Dragneel will face all the teachers. At this everyone looked at Izuku to know what he was going to do, but he just gave a smile. Uraraka. Izuku, you don't need fences. Izuku. Don't worry, I can handle this. After a while Izuku entered the city, he walked for a while, and it didn't take long to meet all the teachers. Izuku. I'm turned on. When the teachers headed towards him, 6 magic circles appeared next to Izuku, in which Izuku's clones came out, each one having the Dragon Slayer part. Izuku and his clones went against the teachers in which they started a fight in which Izuku was seen taking control of everything until Izuku and his clones lined up. Izuku and his clones of him. Light, dark, poison, wind, iron, thunder, fire, dragons roar. The 7 roars combined, leaving the teachers knocked out. The attack continued on its way until it was dispersed by one person. Izuku. You finally decided to appear magician number 1 All Might. All Might. Get ready to fight because it won't be so easy from here on out. Izuku. I say the same for you. The two threw themselves against each other. Izuku switched to his Iron Force dragon form to withstand All Might's blow, which worked. They began a fight in which tastes of air appeared due to the impact of the blows they gave. A clone Izuku took the opportunity to appear behind All Might to hit him with electricity, but All Might hit him to grab his leg and crash him into Izuku. His other clones of him tried to do something to him, but All Might defeated them as if nothing had happened. Izuku. Damn, if I keep going like this I'll lose, and it's something I don't plan on doing. All Might tried to hit a clone, but it turned crimson like the others with different colors and going towards Izuku. Izuku was seen getting up with his iron skin, with rays coming out of his body from one of the clones. Fire came out of his hands and poison came out of the other. The color of his hair also changed, and black and white lines could be seen on his body. Izuku. This is my maximum power, All Might. All Might. Go get your plus ultra. Izuku launched himself against All Might, starting a battle in which the city was not so good, since the two of them were destroying everything due to their combat. Each of Izuku's wounds was healed, unlike All Might, who each blow was worse than the previous one. One due to the poison he had and the fire that burned him. All Might was able to give it a blow that left him without air to continue with several blows, leaving Izuku in bad shape. All Might. This is over. At that Izuku walked away. Izuku. I say the same thing, so this will be my last hit. Izuku led the way out. All Might. Smash. Izuku. Dragon Slaying Strike. At that point he went under All Might's smash to hit his wound with that blow. There was a big explosion in which All Might was seen very hurt, and from that explosion Izuku came flying out, so he was able to pass the exit, and there was a noise that Izuku passed the exam. Camping trip. Once the exam was done, which Izuku was lucky to pass, in the infirmary, All Might was in a bed with the curtains closed, but they were opened by Izuku, who closed the curtains. Izuku. All Might, it shows that I hurt you a lot. All Might. Young Izuku. Izuku. Don't worry, I'll keep your secret, it's been a while since I noticed your injury. Izuku began to heal All Might a little, who was grateful. After all that and being discharged, they left. In class, when they saw that Izuku came in, almost everyone started saying good things to him because he was able to beat the teachers. Alone, Aizawa entered. Aizawa. Guys, we'll do some shopping for the camp. Everyone agreed, and a few days later they went to the center to buy the things they were going to need. Obviously the girls took poor Izuku so that he could hold the things for him and tell him what they looked like. Once everything was finished the days passed and everyone they were going to the camp. Once they arrived they met the two heroines whose names I don't remember. The two heroines explained everything about the original story, including the part when they are thrown away. Izuku. They couldn't warn us. Izuku, seeing how things were, made his clones of him who, before falling, grabbed each girl to prevent them from getting hurt. When they fell, the boys asked why he didn't help them, so Izuku would respond with something his dad told him. Flashback. Natsu. Izuku, when you see that you are falling with people, you will have to first save the women, children, the sick and the elderly. Izuku. And the rest. Natsu. Men can't save themselves, a man takes the blows of life. End of flashback. The boys were angry with Natsu, while the girls thanked their father for teaching them those things. They all had to start walking until they reached the place where the heroines told them. In the hot springs, the Izuku beat up Mineta for trying to atone. On the other hand, after a while Izuku told them everything, so the girls gave Mineta a second beating. On the first night the teachers cooked for him, but on the second day they had to cook on their own, so everyone was impressed. Because of the way Izuku cooked, since he did everything at great speed. Mina. Izuku, how do you cook so fast? Izuku. Because my teacher and father taught me. Once they had eaten everyone went to sleep. Little by little, both the girls and boys' sides were waking up because Izuku was getting them up and gathering them together. Uraraka. Izuku, why did you wake us up? Izuku. A few moments ago I woke up because I smelled a smell. Among all the smells was that of the guy from the portal that attacked in the UA. He said it in a serious way. Izuku. And the other smells meant that they are villains. Everyone was surprised, but at the same time they recognized themselves to fight if necessary. In the distance you could see the villains preparing to attack. Attack. At the camp everyone was training the best they could, but everyone always saw that Izuku walked away from the group to be able to train when they followed him. Once they could see how Izuku in his training destroyed the entire place due to his devastating strength. On the first day the teachers cooked for them, but the second they were the ones who had to cook their own food, and it was the first time that Izuku cooked for all of them. He appeared in the forest bringing some animals that he had hunted with which to cook it. When I offered to at first they didn't want to cook, but because of the girls who did want to, I ended up cooking. Flashback. Izuku left to cook while the others spoke calmly, but they could see how Kendo went to the kitchen. Kendo. Hello, I came to help you. Izuku. No need, I have everything under control. Kendo ignored him and started cooking something that Izuku didn't want, but he was almost stabbed by the girl. When Izuku looked at her closely as she cooked he saw that she didn't cut some things well, so he made his clone she to cook. Izuku. You don't cook much, don't you? Kendo. No, but I try to learn. Izuku. If you want, I'll teach you. Kendo with some embarrassment accepted, and Izuku stood behind her to start grabbing her hands, which made the girl blush. The other girls who were not cooking came to see this act watching as Izuku helped her cut some vegetables. Some time passed and Izuku along with Kendo left the kitchen with the food ready. When they tasted the food they made they started eating faster, finishing all the food in minutes, so the days went by until one day everyone was sleeping except Izuku who felt something in the distance. Aizawa. Where is Izuku? Izuku. Aizawa, wake up the others, something is approaching this place. Aizawa did what Izuku asked, waking up everyone who only went to where Izuku was supposed to be. Everyone was in front of the forest, but they didn't wait for Inomu to appear, which when he tried to attack them, collided with something strange that contained some words they didn't know. Aizawa. Runes, and they are very old. Izuku. They were the ones I felt. He said, pointing in the direction that almost the entire League of Villains could see. Izuku. Dabi, Twice, Mustero, Toga, Mr. Commerce, Moonfish, Magni, Spinner and Muscular. He said as they approached. Izuku. Stay here, I'll take care of these runes, I won't let you enter. Dabi. We only came for two of you. Izuku. I don't care who they came to look for, but they won't take anyone. Dabi. In that case. Dabi made a sign with which Magni and Spinner went against Izuku, who only easily dodged their attacks to kick each of them, making them move away. Izuku dodged a cut from Toga, which tried to get at least a drop of blood out of him. But Izuku managed to avoid it by giving it a blow that sent it crashing into the trees. Out of nowhere he was covered by blue fire that came from Dabi. Dabi. One less to go. He didn't finish as he saw how Izuku ate his fire. Dabi. A dragon slayer, this is bad only if it is. A layer of purple mist began to cover Izuku. Mustero. Without a mask you are finished, boy, before my great poison. Mustero received a blow to his stomach, followed by another blow to his face, and a kick that caused him to break several trees with his body. Izuku was eating all his poison. Dabi. It's impossible. Izuku received a blow from Muscular causing him to break several trees, but when he came out of them, it could be seen that he had his entire body made of iron to avoid Moonfish's teeth, so that he received it with a powerful roar from the Iron Dragon. Dabi. He is the son of the Dragon King. The teacher mentioned to me that he had a son and that he could use more than 2 elements. I never thought I would find him. Izuku. There were 5 left. Dabi. Hey, this is the son of the Dragon King, you have to be careful. Twice. How do you know that? Dabi. That doesn't matter, what matters is finishing him off and taking him to the master. Those who remained of the Villain League paid attention, going all together except Dabi against Izuku, who found it difficult since those who remained went to finish him off with all their strength, making it very difficult for him to fight against them at the same time. Increasingly, some nomas were included, making it even more difficult. Izuku kept them at bay as best he could, being able to kill all the nomas, but having large wounds to himself. Izuku tiredly dodged a Spinner attack, receiving it with an Iron Dragon staff, leaving him out of combat. Izuku. Damn, I don't have much strength. Izuku dodged an attack from Mr. Compress and counterattacked with a Thunder Dragon Roar, but received an attack from Muscular, then dodged another attack from Magni by spinning around and landing a kick to the head using the Iron Dragon staff. Then he was caught by Twice's ribbons, but it was a bad idea since Izuku used them to get closer to him, giving a Wind Dragon Roar. When he turned towards Muscular, being almost the last one, he saw that something changed in his eye, causing his muscle mass to increase to large scales. Muscular went against Izuku, crushing him with his blow. Izuku was about to fall into unconsciousness, but he heard something. Uraraka. Izuku's favorite is not the one who wins. Izuku. Uraraka, I can't let them beat me, I can't let them do something to them, I'll have to go all out. Muscular began to be lifted by Izuku, who with a fist with his arm covered in fire hit Muscular, making him move away. Izuku's body began to shoot out lightning and was with a dragon force of fire. Izuku. Roar of the Fire Dragon. he said while a powerful roar of fire surrounded by lightning went against Muscular which received him fully, leaving him unconscious. Izuku gave a smile as he saw that Dabi left. When they were going to help him he disappeared and appeared next to Dabi because he had a marble that Mr. Compress had given him. They were passing through a portal that Kurogiri made and the other villains also took them. Before Izuku was swallowed by the portal he extended his arm and gave some last words. Uraraka. Izuku. Izuku. Uraraka. He said closing the portal. The king. After the attack of the villains and they left with Izuku, everyone found out that Izuku is the son of the Dragon King, so all the heroes set out to find Izuku. In Uraraka's house, there were all the girls and some boys who became friends with Izuku. Uraraka. Why did they have to take Izuku-kun? Momo. I think I can help you find it. Uraraka. How? Momo. One day I put a tracking stamp on him, that way I would always find him and talk to him and kiss him more than ever. Mina. You were just kissing him. Momo. Well, it touched one part of his body more than another. Uraraka. Can you find it? Momo. Yes I can. Uraraka. Come on, we have to go get him. In the villain's lair, Izuku was waking up seeing the whole place. He tried to move, but he had chains. Izuku. What the hell? Toga. You finally woke up. Toga was touching Izuku's entire body, who only made movements so that he would stop touching him. Izuku. I already remembered, they captured me. At least it's a pleasure to see the boy who helped me kill a dragon again. Izuku. This voice, it's your damn all for one. Afo. Hello Izuku. Izuku. Damn you, I swear I'll kill you, I swear. Izuku tries to break the chains. Afo. It's useless, those chains are made to keep you in that place and not move. Izuku was slowly breaking the chains as he moved forward. Afo. Interesting. Izuku managed to break the chains to then go against Afo, who only dodged his blow, but Izuku moved away. Afo. What happens because you don't move forward? Izuku. I can't beat you, but I can do something. Afo. What? Izuku made a roar that went against the ceiling that caught the attention of many heroes. Dabi tried to hit him, but Izuku kicked him in the face, making him move away. After that you could see how the whole place fell, showing the heroes were all over the place. In that some of the UA could see how Izuku was surrounded by some of the League of Villains. Toga tried to cut him off, and Spinner attacked him from behind, but Izuku dodged them to kick Spinner and hit him. Toga, then he threw lightning at Dabi and fire at Tamura, making the villain league move away from him. Afo. Looks like I'll have to intervene a bit. Izuku. Well, I guess we won't have fun for long. At that point All Might arrived and hit Afo. After that the whole battle would be like the original story until the part where All Might couldn't continue and Afo would try to finish him off, but he received a blow from him far away from the place. Izuku. Don't think it will be that easy. Izuku made his clones to which they would go against Afo, but a clone healed All Might. Behind Afo Izuku would be going with lightning crashing into him making a cloud of dust, but when it dispersed the clone was seen lying on the floor with an Afo's leg, so the clone left and then appeared behind the two Izukus of light and darkness to disappear. Followed by going against the last Izukus and destroying them, leaving only the original in front of him. All Might. Izuku, go away. Izuku. Shut up, you can't continue but I can. Izuku went on to use all of his dragon forces at the same time, taking his body to its limit. Izuku went against Afo, starting a fight in which Izuku could fight at the same level as him, impressing everyone, but that wouldn't last for long, since he couldn't maintain that form for long, and it became more and more noticeable as little by little Afo began to torture him. Izuku. Damn, I can't hold on, I'll have to use this. Izuku began to gather power in his mouth to be in front of Afo to make a roar that was a combination of all the roars, making a great destruction throughout the place, forming a smile, but he left when he saw that Afo in front of him, starting to take him by the neck and lift him up. The students tried to do something, but Izuku sent a slight attack to stop them from getting closer. Afo? At least I'll finish you off. Afo raised his hand to finish him off. Uraraka. Please stop. Before he did anything, a huge amount of fire hit Afo when everyone looked at where the attack came from, seeing a pink-haired man who took Izuku with the others. Uraraka. Is Izuku good? Izuku was waking up. Izuku. Dad. Everyone even looked at the place with a sign, so everyone looked. Uraraka. Izuku, who is he? Izuku. It's my dad, the Dragon King Natsu Dragneel. Everyone was more impressed as they were looking at the king of all dragons. Natsu. Well son, I have to fix this problem. Afo. The king has arrived. He couldn't continue since Natsu hit him that knocked him to a place to appear in front of him and give him large amounts of blows that had fire, not allowing Afo to react to any of them, leaving him in a bad state in which he couldn't move because of the burns he had all over his body. Person 1. The king is amazing. Person 2. He has a great amount of power. Child. It's amazing. Hero 1. I never thought the king would appear and humiliate Afo. In the fight. Afo. How is it possible that I can't face you? Natsu. Because the other time I held back in that fight, but now. Natsu hit him that knocked all the air out of him. Natsu. Now I'm going to show a little more of my power. Natsu gives him another blow that pushes him away to finish with a single attack. Natsu. Roar of the fire dragon. When I made the roar I ended up knocking Afo unconscious, but everyone was impressed because that attack could have easily killed 6 of the 10 great heroes, apart from the fact that it was huge. Natsu. Well, with that, everything is over. Bedrooms. After Natsu defeated All For One, he stayed for a few days until they announced about the dorms, so Natsu brought all of Izuku's things and was about to look for a fight against All Might to see his great strength, but Izuku stopped him. On time. Izuku. Dad, does mom know you're here? Natsu. No, why? Izuku. Because I got a letter from her that she wanted you back in the kingdom. Before Natsu does anything, everyone saw how a portal opened through which a woman's hand came out and grabbed Natsu and threw him into the portal. Lucy. Hi son, I came to visit for a bit, so I'll let you stay here. I hope you have luck and that everything goes well. At that she passed through the portal and it closed. Momo. Izuku, is that your mom? Izuku. Yes, Lucy, the queen of the golden keys of those spirits. Uraraka. Izuku, you know that she is among respected men for being the woman who has the strongest celestial spirits, apart from being one of the few who were able to do a 100-year mission. Izuku. You're bad. Izawa. Well, come in, we have to see how your bedrooms look. When they went to make their bedrooms, they had a contest to choose the best bedroom, which ended up being Izuku's because it had a lot of things that were from the world of dragons, and that couldn't be found in that world, but what caught everyone's attention? It was the photo of Izuku with his parents when he was a baby. Izuku. Just because of that photo they chose me. Uraraka. Yes, you were very cute when you were little. She said it while she and the other girls had the photo of Izuku as a baby. Izuku. Hey, give me that back. That's when Izuku tried to take the photo, which took him a full hour to take, as well as moving each girl away from the photo, since he had to put it in a safe place where no one would find it. That's when they were in class. Izawa. Get ready because in a few days you will have to go to a place where other schools will meet you. When class ended they were in the room. Izuku. If there are other schools in this test, it will surely be a rescue test, and we will have to fight with the others or something like that. Uraraka. How are you sure about that? Izuku. Well, from the world of dragons we can see everything that happens in this place, and that's how my father knew where to be to fight All For One. Momo. Could you take us to that place? Izuku. Yes, but first I need to consult with my parents, since the world of dragons cannot be stepped on by any being that is not from the place in exchange for the king's letting them. Mina. Why don't you ask him now? Izuku. I don't know how to talk to her. Then a letter falls on top of Izuku, which he notices has his mother's signature, so he opens it. Letter from Lucy. Izuku, if you can go, don't worry about your father or the other dragons, because I already took care of it, and you better give me grandchildren because otherwise prepare for some consequences. Izuku. Apparently my mother already knows about this and left us. That's where Izawa came in. Izawa. Well guys, this is sudden, but a new classmate came from the world of ice. Uraraka. Ice world. Izuku. Since the world of dragons exists, there is also the world of ice and among others that are weaker, but there are few who can face the world of ice and dragons, but I only know of one person who comes from that world. No. Tell me where I am. Just then he enters his room. Izawa. This is Nami. Nami. Hello, I'm Nami Fullbuster, daughter of Grey Fullbuster and Juvia. All this with a serious face and few friends. That's why the vast majority of men are fascinated by the girl. Izawa. Well, since we don't have a room for her yet, one of you will have to share with her. At that, the vast majority of the boys offered, but they saw how Nami was looking for something, so she began to walk near the rooms, but she stopped at one, a specific one being Izuku's, so she opened it, and when everyone approached they did not arrive. They see Izuku, but they saw how the girl raised both hands to make a lot of ice appear in the place, so that everyone could see that at a specific point there was not much ice, so Nami went to that place to see Izuku. Nami. Izuku-kun. He said it with hearts in his eyes. He said it while hugging Izuku. Uraraka. Izuku, who is she? Just then Izuku starts talking, flashback. The Dragneel family went to the ice world, staying there for a while, but Izuku saw how the Fullbuster's daughter was alone, so she approached. Izuku. Why are you alone? Nami. Nobody wants to be with me because I make the rain appear wherever I go. Izuku. Well, I think it's great, I love the rain. Nami. But you are made of fire. Izuku. I still love the rain. End of flashback. Izuku. And since then he was with me all the time and he didn't leave me alone for a moment, not even when I was going to take a bath. Nami. This is how my mom got my dad and it will be the same way she will have you, Aizawa-sensei. Can I stay in Izuku's room? Aizawa. I don't see why not. Nami. You see Izuku, love always triumphs. Izuku. This will be very long. And that you could see the girls forming a group so that Nami doesn't stay with Izuku. Kingdom of Ice and Dragons. After everyone settled down, although Izuku had to deal with Nami since she was in her room, the day had already passed completely and everyone was in the living room thinking about what to do until Uraraka remembered something. Uraraka. Izuku, you told me that you were going to take me to the world of dragons. Momo. I can go too. And so everyone started saying they wanted to go, even Professor Aizawa said he wanted to go. Izuku. Well, I'll take them. At that point he began to say some words that no one understood. Uraraka. What does it say? Nami. He's speaking in dragon language. On the floor a red magic circle appeared. Izuku. Well, who comes first? At that point he entered followed by Nami and in passing everyone appeared in front of a huge door where they saw several dragons in the sky in great heat. Izuku. This is the world of dragons. Just then he starts walking followed by everyone, they were walking while all the dragons were looking at them. Sai. Why are they looking at us? Shirin. It's not obvious, it's because I'm there. Izuku. It's not because there are almost never humans in this place other than me. At that point they were in front of the castle, there was a very large door that there were two large dragons guarding it. Shirin, like any other arrogant person, tried to pass through, but the dragons hit him and sent him flying. When Izuku approached, the two dragons moved away. Apart from bowing his head to Izuku. Izuku. Let them pass, come with me. Just then everyone passed by, as they walked they saw what looked like humans. Aizawa. Those are people. Izuku. There are dragons that can take the form of a person or rather their human version. They entered the room where they saw that there were two thrones where they saw Izuku's father and his mother. Izuku. Hi mom, dad, we're visiting. Lucy. And you came with Nami. Nami. Hello in-laws. Lucy. Hello Nami, how are your parents doing? Nami. Good. Lucy. Well Izuku, which one is your girlfriend? At that some girls record Izuku everywhere, saying that I'm his girlfriend. Lucy. Don't worry, Izuku, even if he is the next king of the dragons, he can have more than one woman. At that someone gave a smile. Natsu. Nami, when you see your father, tell him that I want to fight him. Nami. Okay. Lucy. Natsu, don't start and Izuku takes them to the city to buy something and have fun. Izuku. Okay. But that he takes them to a place where Izuku gave them bags of gold. Momo. Izuku, is it okay for us to take money from your parents? You know we have our own money with us. Izuku. Yours is not going to work in this world, besides this money is mine. Uraraka. We'll pay you later. Izuku. No need, it's not even a quarter of mine. That's when they left for the city and started buying things like simple backpacks, although Aizawa was seeing sleeping bags all over the kingdom. Out of pity for him, the girls took him to see how their clothes fit Izuku. He only told them that it looked good on them because otherwise they were going to kill him. When they finished, they returned to the castle. Izuku. Well if you're done let's go back. And that he makes a magic circle so that everyone enters and returns to his world. Nami. Well do you want to go to my world? Everyone would say yes for Nami to make a blue magic circle through which they entered. When they entered they appeared in a place where there was a lot of snow along with great cold. The girls hugged Izuku as his body was releasing heat. Nami. Come, we have to tell my father that we are arriving. They walked around seeing people who were very sheltered. They walked until they entered a castle that seemed to be made of ice. When they entered they saw a man on a throne who had nothing but his pants and a blue-haired woman like Nami. Then Izuku jumps with his hand on fire at the man. Izuku. Gray fights me. Just by looking at him, almost his entire body was frozen. Nami. Dad, you don't have to do that to my fiancé. Nami begins to defrost it. Juvia. It's good to see that my daughter already has a fiancé, although I didn't expect it to be Natsu's son. Nami. Dad, Natsu wants to fight you. Gray. I hope so. Izuku. Damn stripper I'll see you. He said it while Nami was forcibly taking him with the help of some boys to the city, where the same thing happened in the dragon world, where Izuku was captured by the girls who again forced him to see how some of their clothes fit, although they were holding him back, because Izuku wanted to fight every guard that passed along the way. As soon as they finished their shopping they were already in the castle. Gray. Hey Izuku, tell your father that in a few days we'll get together to fight. Izuku. Okay. Juvia. And if you want, take your class to see the fight. At that point they felt some heat and a magic circle was made where Natsu appeared. Natsu? You won't need ice cubes. Ray. Hey llamas, in a few days we are going to fight. Everyone felt enormous cold and heat at the same time. Izawa. Just by looking at each other, you can feel their great power. Izuku. Well, in a few days we will see the fight. At that point they leave the place to be back in their world. Fire against ice. After they returned to UA, a few days passed in which they were living normally, although the girls almost killed each other because they all loved Izuku, who suffered because of this, because they always grabbed him by his limbs and pulled him from one side to the other. It was a normal day when Izuku was going through the same thing, but from the floor there was some ice along with fire, and when everyone paid attention, it was a small dragon next to what seemed to be a small ice being. Izuku. Lucky for you, the day has come. Nami. Everyone get ready. At that, everyone got ready to leave, so that a magic circle appeared to send them to another place. They appeared in front of what seemed to be a coliseum. Everyone entered the place, and instead of going to where they were, almost everyone went somewhere. Where it seemed to be VIP, although Luvia and Lucy were in front of them, so Izuku and Nami sat behind them while the rest sat behind them, although they noticed that there were more seats next to them. Mina. Izuku, what are we doing here? Izuku. A fight is going to happen, but not just any fight, but one that will be, so to speak, colossal levels. Nami. They're almost there. Momo. And the other seats that are next to you. Nami. The other kings are coming. Just then, behind them through the door some adults enter with their daughters. The adults sat in the seats where Lucy and Luvia and their daughters were where Izuku and Nami were. Lucy. Hello Marahan, Kana. Rain. They brought their daughters. Hannah. Well, of course we wouldn't miss the fight between Natsu and Gray, and so that my daughter knows how strong the fairy tale wizards were, I brought her to Akeno. Akeno. Marahan. Me too, so Damara can't see them. Damara. Mineta. And who are you, precious? Damara. I am Damara, princess of monsters and the daughter of Marahan, queen of monsters, and Laxus, the thunder dragon slayer. Akeno. I am Akeno, the princess of destruction, daughter of Kana. Just then a red-haired woman came in with a blue-haired man and a girl. Lucy. You're here, Urza. Urza. I had to make Scarlet see them. Haminari. What's your name? Scarlet. I am Scarlet, princess of armor, daughter of Urza the queen of armor and Jurel the king of stars. Izuku. Hey girls, those two who asked your names are perverts. The two were already bad, although everything changed because of the presenter. Presenter. Welcome everyone to this fight today. On one hand there is the king of ice, the one who with just his presence everything is frozen to hell, Grey full baster. Through the door that opened while everything was frozen. Presenter. And on the other hand, the one who burns everything, his rivals tremble, no dragon can beat him, he will burn everything that crosses his path, Natsu Dragneel. The other door opened and a large amount of fire appeared everywhere. Presenter. Begin. The two stood in front of each other and someone coughed, and after that the two threw themselves at each other, clashing fists, creating a current of air both cold and hot. They began a clean body fight in which they used their magic, making everyone stand together. They felt bad because in one moment they were freezing and in less than a second they became very hot. In the fight they separated from each other, although neither of them had any injuries. Ray. Hey little llama, why don't we leave the warm-up aside? Natsu. You're right, let's get serious. In the stands. Uraraka. No idea in series. In the fight the two began to use their best forms, black marks appearing on Gray and scales appearing on Natsu, while he looked more like a dragon. The two went against each other clashing fists, but this time you could see the fire and the ice between them, so that they disappear from the place to reappear in the air following the fight, but they disappeared again and continued fighting, but you could only hear the clash of the attacks, along with the changes in temperature, since neither Izuku nor Nami could stand it, although everyone noticed. How a large dome of water along with 12 beings that came out of some keys plus some letters were placed in the dome, so that it remains. Shirin. But what? Izuku. The queens got in to contain the fight a little. Inside the dome you could still fight between the two without stopping for a moment, although they didn't care, so they continued fighting, although in the dome, you could see how in some parts it froze and in others it evaporated. Natsu. It's time to end this. Barry. Who is the strongest? In the stands the missing kings left the stands. Kirishima. What time is it? Izuku. The fight is about to end. The kings were already protecting the others, although through the dome they could see a yellow light and a blue light, which went one against the other. When they collided, a huge explosion occurred in which it did not matter that they protected them, because some of them were also injured. Although when the cloud of dust dispersed the two could be seen lying on the floor. Scarlet. Its power is incredible. Damara. And that was all his power. Izuku. It's not all his power from him. That left everyone in shock. Well, they passed and everyone was in a room where Natsu and Gray were with bandages. Urza. So Izuku goes to an academy. Lucy. You are. Hana. And Nami next to him. Rain. Yes. The Keno Damara Scarlet. We want to go too. Nami. What's wrong? Don't they want me to have Izuku? Scarlet. I won't let you have it. The Keno. He is mine. Damara. He has to be the husband of the queen of the monsters. Those of the UA in his mind. More competition. The big three. After everyone saw the great fight that took place between the two kings being Natsu and Gray, which left the class more than surprised by the enormous power of the two kings, now you can see the entire class 1 and the dormitories being calm, although there it was a problem, and it was Izuku. Scarlet. He's mine. Nami. No, mine. Damara. Don't even think that I will let you. The Keno. He stays with me. The Uraraka. No, he's mine from the beginning. The other girls were also fighting over Izuku, which was totally wrong since they stretched him everywhere. Flashback. The class was quiet after watching the big battle until Izawa came in with some girls. Izawa. Everyone listen well, as happened with Nami, it will happen with them, they are your new companions. Izuku. Scarlet, Akeno, Damara. The three showed a smile. Nami. Rivals of love. The Uraraka. More bitches. Izawa. As before, they are going to choose who they are going to share their bedrooms with since we don't have enough. As expected, Izawa left while the girls went to Izuku's room. Haminari. I'm jealous of you, Izuku. Izuku. Better not have them, this is going to be very difficult. He said it with his head down as the girls began to fight among themselves. Then flashback. Izuku was still like a rubber doll, but he was saved by the bell literally as everyone went to the classrooms to start classes, although Izuku was careful with the girls since they didn't take their eyes off him. Izuku. Hopefully I'm still alive. The Keno. Don't be like that, Izuku, let's have some together later. Scarlet. No, he has to come with me. The girls fought again, while Izuku was the worst among them until they were silenced by Izawa. Izawa. Well, my kids, some 3-year-old students came today. That's when the big three appeared, and like the original story, Mirio challenged the entire class to fight, although when Najire came to ask about the places she couldn't help but blush at seeing Izuku. At this moment everyone was in a part where they were going to fight. Against Mirio. Izuku. Mirio is supposed to be the strongest among the three, we shouldn't be too confident. The Keno. You're not fooling us, you want to go fight at once. Izuku. You are. Damara. Then go. In a second Izuku was already running against Mirio, who did the same. When they were close and were going to hit each other, Izuku ended up passing through Mirio, and when he turned around he received a blow from him. Mirio. You didn't expect that. Izuku. To be honest, no, but that only makes me want to fight more. Mirio. Then let's see how long you last. Izuku. I'm turned on. Izuku showed fire coming out of his hands so that he went against Mirio just like this one. When Izuku crossed Mirio and turned around, before the blonde did something to Izuku, he himself hit him with a blow that sent him flying against some rocks. Izuku. Don't even think it will be that easy. Mirio. This excites me even more. The boy went against Izuku, who responded with the same so that everyone could see how Izuku crossed Mirio, receiving some blows from him, but the green-haired young man was not far behind since he also managed to give some blows to Mirio, who was beginning to have some burns on his body. Tamaki. I've never seen Mirio so excited about a fight. Najire. It was to be expected, it's not for nothing that Izuku is the Dragon Prince. Tamaki. And how do you know that? Najire. I've been keeping an eye on him for a bit. They watched as the two boys bumped fists, followed by another fist bump that pushed them away. Mirio. It's time to end this. Izuku. I say the same. The two went against each other. When they collided fists, Izuku crossed Mirio, but before the blonde could do anything he ended up receiving a roar from Izuku's dragon, leaving him on the floor unconscious before the eyes of his companions, who were surprised because his companion was defeated. Different. After they faced one of the big three being Mirio, apart from the girls from the other kingdoms being Izuku's new roommates, Izuku was currently walking down the street with Mirio, although they were talking about trivial topics until something happened. She bumped into Izuku, making him look at where she came from, being a white-haired girl. Izuku. Are you okay? The boy picked her up, but when he did so the girl hugged him. Girl. Help me. This seemed very strange to Izuku until he looked somewhere. Man. I'm sorry if my daughter bothered you, Eri, come. The girl named Eri upon hearing this clung closer to Izuku. Izuku. Hey, you're really called Eri? Eri? Yes, sir. Izuku. I see, Mirio, you can have Eri for a few moments. Izuku gave it to Eri, confusing Mirio. Izuku. Hey, your name is Hisaki, although better known as Overhaul. I heard about you a long time ago, so I was researching you in depth, and I know that you don't have a daughter. Apart from that, your smell and hers are not the same. Overhaul. So you realized you are a dragon slayer after all. Izuku. Mirio, I want you to take Eri from here, and I'll take care of this. The boy just listened and left while Izuku looked at Overhaul with a serious face. Izuku. I promise to finish quickly. Overhaul. And how do you plan to do that? Izuku. You chose a bad place where there are a lot of shadows. He said it while he began to move to a wall, making Overhaul get into a combat pose, but before the villain could say anything, he ended up with a kick in the face from Izuku, followed by a blow from him that sent him flying, making him fly. He rejoined in the air. When he got up, he looked at Izuku to touch the ground and send spikes, which Izuku dodged with ease, to send an iron dragon staff against Overhaul, hitting him squarely, although he managed to touch him to destroy him, revealing his arm from him. Of Izuku covered in iron. Izuku. Your disassembling and reassembling power is impressive, but I would like to see how much longer it lasts. The boy got into a pose to launch his fire dragon roar, making Overhaul have no options but to move away from the place to the point of escaping from the place before the gaze of Izuku, who was like if nothing had happened. Izuku. Coward. The Sheik only concentrated to go to UA, where he arrived to enter his room through the window, seeing Eri. Izuku. Are you okay, Eri? Eri. Yes, and Chisaki. Izuku. Don't worry, I'm taking care of it, but it will never bother you again. Eri. Thank you very much. The girl hugged Izuku, who reciprocated the girl's hug without knowing that some girls were watching them through the door of the room. Momo. Apparently that girl is going to be Izuku's daughter. Uraraka. And he's going to need a mother. The Keno. Or mothers. The girls were left thinking this. Overhaul. After Izuku had done some surveillance with Mirio, so that they ended up in a confrontation against Overhaul rescuing a girl named Eri. At this moment everyone from the UA was with the girl, who was alone in the quiet room until Izuku decided to approach, sitting in front of the girl, looking at her. Izuku. You call yourself Eri, really? Eri? Yes, that's my name. Izuku. Well, Eri, if you can tell me something about Overhaul. Eri. How about what? Izuku. To start, is he really your father? Eri. No, my real parents left me when I activated my magic, and he found me, and since then he experimented with me so that I could make weapons with parts of my skin. The girl cried a little, being noticed by Izuku, who only got angrier than normal as he hugged Eri, letting her unload all her pain on him. Izuku. Eri, I want you to stay here, they will all take care of you. The boy got up to start walking. Kirishima. Where are you going? Izuku. I have the smell of that damn thing, I'll go look for it just to talk to a little. Kirishima. Wait, you need some help. Izuku. What are you talking about? Kirishima. Come. The red-haired man took him to a part where he entered, seeing some heroes with some of his companions like Uraraka and Sai. Izuku. What is all this, Kirishima? Kirishima. They are here to find Overhaul and take him to the Totters. Izuku. So in that case, what do I have to do? Izawa. As we know, you are capable of smelling any person for thousands, so we want you to help us with the Overhaul issue. Izuku. So I have to fight Overhaul. Izawa. More than that, we want you to take us to him, and if one of his henchmen is nearby, we want you to be in charge of telling us so that we can take care of him ourselves until we get to where Overhaul is. Izuku. So in that case I want you to tell me everything you have about him. In that way they began to tell him everything they knew about Overhaul until they had to leave, although he noticed how someone with glasses had his gaze on him the whole time. Attack. After Izuku was talking to the teachers about Overhaul and having the information about it, he was now walking calmly through the place with a mask hiding his identity until he noticed something, and it was Toga, Twice, who were in the place, so he approached. They. Izuku. You are Toga and Twice. Saying that, the two of them had to look at him, putting themselves on guard. Twice. And who are you? Izuku. Don't worry, I come to be an ally of Overhaul, nothing more. Toga. Then it's good to know that we won't be the only ones. The three began to walk while talking, and luckily the two villains talked a lot, so he managed to get some information from them that the heroes took advantage of until they reached a room where they saw Overhaul with his precepts. Overhaul. So you are the ones from the League of Villains who came with us, but who are you? Izuku. I'm just someone who wants a better world, nothing more, although there is a bad part of how I want to do it. Overhaul. And what's that bad part? Izuku. If I do it my way, the heroes will call me a villain even though they are blind, since they are the real villains. Overhaul. I like how you're thinking, I'd like to know about your quirk. Izuku. Do you know that boy Izuku Dragneel, Natsu Dragneels are? Overhaul. Yes, everyone knows him. Izuku. Well, my quirk allows me to copy any other quirk, but once I copy one I will stay with that one for life, so I was looking for something powerful until I found him. Overhaul. I like it, that was very useful to us since you can kill dragons along the way. Izuku. I promise you that I won't let you down. Precept. But if you would be so kind as to take off that mask, it would be very good for us. Hearing that, Izuku put his hand on the floor, beginning to move it as if he were looking for something special. Overhaul. You can tell what you're looking for. Izuku. I'm just looking for an opening. Overhaul. An opening. Izuku. And I found her. The boy raised his arm causing fire to start coming out so that it hit the floor, causing it to end up breaking while everyone fell, but before they hit the floor, Izuku threw his mask at them, hitting Overhaul in the head. Izuku. Apparently I'm very good at fooling people, what do you say? Mirai. Now, let's enter. They all went, but when Rukia wanted to get in his way he ended up being caught by Ryukyu so that everyone could pass. Attack 2. After they went to Overhaul's house, passing through Rukia with great ease, continuing with their path so that when they entered they saw a part where the precepts of death left, so that they entered the place where they began to run, although Izuku began to feel something. Mirai. Where is Midoriya? Izuku. There's a strange smell in the air. At one point they dodged a catch that came from the wall. Izawa. He's a villain. Izuku. I'll take care of it. They saw how he began to run towards where the villain was using his nose. Izuku. Staff of the Iron Dragon. They saw how an iron cane came out of his arm and ended up going somewhere, starting to break the wall until he hit the villain, leaving him unconscious. Mirai. Where is Mirio? They noticed how the boy was not there. Izuku. I think I know where it is. They began to run following Mirio's scent while he had some problems since he was facing Overhaul and a few precepts since he killed some along the way. Overhaul. You better give up. Mirio. Never. Overhaul. As you wish. He was about to attack, but the wall ended up breaking so that Izuku came out, who jumped to where the villain was to kick him, sending him flying. Izuku. Thunder Spear. They saw how a lightning attack came out of his hands and hit Overhaul, who tried to stop it with some earth spikes. Izuku. Now everyone run, Mirio, take the girl from here, I'll take care of Overhaul. Mirio. Good. He takes Eri in his arms and starts running. Izuku. Aizawa and Mirai accompany Mirio so that nothing happens to him. Mirai. What about you? Izuku. I'll take care of Overhaul, I'll be fine. The teachers began to run while Izuku looked at Overhaul emerging from the rubble with an annoyed look. Overhaul. You have the balls to interrupt me. Izuku. And the biggest ones you've ever seen in your life. He watched as his force dragon began to pass. Izuku. And I'll show you what I'm made of. He launched himself again against Overhaul who, before this, made some spikes of earth to damage Izuku, but with one blow he destroyed him as if nothing had happened so that he would be closer to Overhaul, who only prepared himself for an attack, but what he did not expect is that Izuku he used the Iron Dragon's staff again, hitting him squarely in the face, sending him flying. Causing him to crash into a wall, but before he got up he saw how the boy passed by his side and with a white glow from his hand he hit him. Straight at Overhaul, sending him flying, causing him to crash into a wall. Overhaul. Damn. He saw how he made some of his minions explode so that he had more limbs, surprising Izuku, but he had to get out of shock when he saw how he began to launch some attacks at him, being pillars of earth as well as spikes which were dodged by Izuku who only avoided them. As he could so that in a moment he prepares with an attack. Izuku. Dragon's Roar of. Before he finished, a catch hit him in the face, making him look up so that the attack ended up hitting the ceiling, causing it to break, and everyone saw this while Rukia fell down, close to Overhaul. Overhaul. That's it, I'll finish you off. He watched as he made Rukia explode to join him, making him bigger than before. Izuku. I'll have to get more serious. The boy launched himself at Overhaul who tried to hit him, but when he got in front of him the boy ended up disappearing into the shadows, surprising the villain, followed by him appearing to the side, kicking him, sending him flying, so that he collided with a wall. Followed by starting to throw a large amount of poison at Overhaul who could not do anything about it, receiving the attack squarely, so that some parts with poison were noticeable. Overhaul. Damn you. Izuku. And don't finish. He saw how he was getting dangerously close, so he tried to hit him so that Izuku would reciprocate in the same way by colliding blows, but in doing so, he ended up destroying Overhaul's part without much problem, but before the villain could do anything about it, Izuku gave him another attack that destroyed other parts of his body, followed by him starting to get faster, destroying more of the villain. Overhaul. Damn. Izuku. This is the end. When he gave him the last blow, he managed to see how he had the fairy tale symbol so that it would hit him squarely so that he would be sent flying, leaving him unconscious. Festival. After the defeat of Overhaul at the hands of Izuku and the group of heroes, everyone was now calm walking through the hallways of the dormitories so that he saw Eri in a room which was with the local girls since they bought her clothes separately. To start combing her hair so she left the place. Kirishima. It seems like the girls get along well with Eri. Izuku. Yes, it seems like that, but how are your injuries, Kirishima? Kirishima. I'm fine, I'll be as good as new soon. Izuku. I'm glad to hear that. Kirishima. Hey Izu bro, I have a little doubt, how does it feel to be the Prince of Dragons? Izuku. It's like being the prince of normal people, except that they are much older, wiser and other things. Kirishima. I wish I had your position. Izuku. Believe me, you wouldn't have wanted it, there are many things you would like to avoid. They walked until they saw the time. Izuku. Looks like it's time to go to class. Kirishima. Yes. They went to class being calm although Momo started playing it. Izuku. Is something wrong? Momo. Yes, the notice. Izuku. That's true. The boy stood up to go in front of everyone. Izuku. Well class, the cultural festival is approaching, all the first year UA classes are going to participate, so we have to do something, we will see what ideas they have to be able to start with the festival. Almost immediately everyone raised their hands, surprising Izuku. Izuku. Okay, this is going to be a very long day. I want you to write all your ideas on paper and we'll see if you can accept them or not. Everyone listened to start writing down their ideas until they were given them to start reviewing. Izuku. Let's start, photos of girls no. Thoughts of Mineta and Kaminari. Why does no one accept our ideas? Izuku. Calendar photos no. Momo. In fact we can consider this one. Izuku. Well then we'll consider it. They searched until they found one. Izuku. Interesting, a concert. Momo. That could go very well. Izuku. Then we'll take this one. They took that idea to give the notice to the class who only agreed, but Jiro was only happy. Izuku. Well it seems that we will finish with this idea. They started to leave, but saw how Mirio was with Eri. Mirio. Hi guys, I was planning to take Eri to see the cultural festival or part of it. Izuku was about to accompany them, but he noticed how a small messenger dragon came out. Izuku. Is something wrong? Dragon. Yes, your father demands your presence right now. Upon that hearing, Izuku immediately left before everyone's eyes so that he could reach the kingdom to where his father was. Izuku. Is something wrong, Dad? Natsu. Yes, I wanted to warn you about something. Izuku. What? Natsu. We have some rumors that the apocalypse dragon Acnologia is in your world. Izuku. But that's impossible, you yourself said that you killed him. Natsu. Well, there are chances that it's not like that and he's actually still alive. Izuku. Then there is a good chance that he is still alive and coming to kill the dragons. Natsu. Yes, I'm just telling you to be careful since Acnologia is not any ordinary dragon slayer, he is one that has lived for thousands of years even longer than me and his power is enormous. Izuku. How big is it? Natsu. When we managed to defeat him, it was when we were able to freeze him. Apart from that, we used all the magic of a continent to finish him off with a single blow, and thanks to the fact that my father Igniel took off his arm, we were able to defeat him, but if it hadn't been for that, then everyone we would have died. Izuku was surprised at such a thing, so he could only nod his head to leave the place before Natsu's gaze. Lucy. Do you think it will be okay? Natsu. Yes, he is very strong, we can trust him. In the bedrooms they watched as Izuku returned. Uraraka. You're back. She said this as she rushed to hug him, but she noticed how serious the boy was. Uraraka. Is something wrong? Izuku. No, I'm completely fine. He said it with a forced smile. Izuku. If they let me, I have to rest. He said this as he left the place to rest in her room. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.